The Hawaiian Homelands Trust covers an area of 204,000 acres, and Land Management Division is responsible for the management and maintenance of the land that's not under homestead or under development. So that's approximately 180,000 acres. Last year in fiscal year 24, Land Management spent approximately $350,000 on just fire mitigation. That's not counting that we have to work with illegal dumping and all the other issues. So our budget is pretty high. The $350,000 covers area that we consider as prone to fire, and that's not even 10% of what we should do. That being said, we try to partner with all the other neighbors, community organizations, nonprofit groups to help with managing those unencumbered land and to prevent dumping, fire, and other issues that we have. This year, we increased our budget to $550,000, but there's definitely no way be enough to take care of all the issues that we face, but we do try our best. So if there's any calls or emergency, please give us a call, and we will try to address it as best as we can.
So in 2023, we submitted a FY25, fiscal year 25 request, which begins on July 1st, 2024, of $20 million. The actual amount that we need is $157 million. The $20 million was designed for us to take care of unencumbered lands in mitigating spread of wildfire. For example, cutting fire breaks and performing other activities. These funds are operating costs in nature and require yearly maintenance. The $20 million would have certainly gone toward homestead associations as long as it was pertaining to wildfire spread mitigation or hazard mitigation for wildfires. So the governor requested $20 million for our mitigation purposes. Unfortunately, the fire costs for Lahaina and recovery costs for Lahaina were a lot more than anyone had anticipated. So the Department of Budget and Finance and the governor were stuck in a difficult situation. Unfortunately, we did not receive general funds in the amount of $20 million. What we did receive, however, is an appropriation of P funding. So means of financing P funding, which stands for discretionary federal funds. P funding, very straightforward, is an appropriation ceiling that is there and exists in the event that an agency, in our case the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, receives any type of federal grant before the next legislative session can convene and make decisions. So in this case, what the legislature has asked us to do is to apply for federal hazard mitigation funding, again in the amount of $20 million or more, and this P funding or P appropriation ceiling allows us to expend any grant funds that come in.
And in the area of wildfire management, I've managed to apply for 2 congressional earmarks, one from Senator Hirono and one from Representative Tokuda. The grant funds would be used to help us on the planning efforts as well as on the ground with the communities and provide some training in land stewardship, nonprofit training, and leadership training. These grant funds are still under review by Congress. We'll hear back probably by the fall, and we've applied for up to $10 million, and we're still going through the process, and we'll let you folks know when the funds will be available.
Wildfire has always been one of the topics in mostly our drier regions, like Kauai High. I think they've done a fantastic job in the Kailapa Community Association of getting their community as ready as possible for fire. You know, they went through the HWMO program to get FireWise certified. In our department's grant program, you know, we recently awarded grant funding to Aina Alliance on Kauai in Anohola. They've been doing a great job with this money to help to create fire breaks in Anohola. Another example is in Waimea. The department's been working with the Waimea Hawaiian Homestead Association on its federal grant application to build a disaster communication center so that in future instances where there's fire in Pu'ukapu, that the emergency management responders have a centralized location near the homestead to coordinate disaster relief. I mean, several years ago, Pu'ukapu suffered like the largest wildfire in Hawaii's history. It consumed over 41,000 acres. So we've been working specifically with those two communities who've reached out to the department for assistance, and we look forward to working with others who seek department assistance in their strategy and their vision for how to make their community safer.
So since last August, when unfortunate events happened in Lahaina, I was tasked with looking at some high priority, high hazard areas. You know, it kind of shone a light on the different hazards that we have in the state and kind of pushed everyone to do a better job. A lot of people don't know, but that same day that Lahaina was burning, there are also fires in Kauai High. And they have fires there, you know, every year or two. So we're really focusing with Wildfire Management Organization in the Kauai High area. We have a homestead community there, the Kailapa Homestead Community. And with DOT funds and expertise, we're able to cut 4 miles of fire break, protecting the community and also creating a barrier along our northern boundary to protect the neighboring communities of Kohala by the Sea, Kohala Estates, and Kohala Ranch. So fire breaks are really our first line of defense as far as large landscapes, and that's just cutting like an access road down to the bare soil to create both access for emergency vehicles and a break in fuels for our fires. So we also did 6 miles of fire breaks at South Point Ka'u, which again burns every 1 to 5 years. You know, they have big fires, high winds. We also did 10 miles of fire breaks in Humu'ula on the Mauka boundary of the DHHL property to make sure that any fire that starts along Mauna Road or in the gorse doesn't spread up into the Mauna Kea Forest Reserve. There are certain communities that we're lucky to have very strong leadership. It's really beneficial for the department to rely on that leadership in the communities that we already have. So certain communities like Pukapu, and then so Anahola and Kailapa, they have very strong leadership. So that's what we've been working with initially. We need to be able to find those leaders and those motivated people in every community. So I'm really glad that we're having a symposium in August and have a chance to meet everybody and get everybody on the same page. I think it was a wake-up call for everyone that we have vulnerable communities. And hindsight 2020, you know, there's always shoulda, woulda, couldas, but because of that, you know, I really hope that everybody becomes more proactive in identifying hazards and mitigating them proactively. We work very closely with Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization, and they in particular are really good with communities. They have a special place in their heart for Hawaiian Homes beneficiaries, and they're really just awesome to work with.
One of the things that we are working on at the Land Development Division is to better equip our communities to be more safe, is working with our developers in the design and construction phase to ensure that we have materials that are being used that are fire resistant. The second thing that we're doing is working with our developers to make sure that when they have site control, that they will be responsible for not only creating the fire break, but also managing it and managing the vegetation growth. Thirdly, we are working with our beneficiaries on better informing them with FireWise education during the orientation process to inform them of when they receive their home, of how to mitigate and how to take care of their home to be prepared for potential fire risks.
As it relates to FireWise, you know, we're venturing into a whole new area. Right? This has never been done before within the department in terms of opening up this opportunity for FireWise to have information in a central place. Right now, there is no central depository for information. So if there's a fire in Waiahuli or on Kauai or Hawaii Island as an example, it takes a lot of effort by many individuals to bring that information together. So let's say there's a fire in Waiahuli, and all of those that are doing work on that particular fire, let's just say it's the association and they have information they want to send the department. It may be coming through our Maui district office. They have information that they can put into this case management tool. But there are other state agencies that are also utilizing Salesforce, which becomes very important if we want to look at the long tail on how we start to synergize with other departments. We can start to enhance our partnership with those departments that are currently on Salesforce and figure out a way to become even more efficient.